Okay guys, I'm doing a quick test to make sure that my sound is working. So that is what we're doing right now. Hopefully it is. Let's see if we get some feedback. I'm not hearing myself yet, so that is not that is a problem. Let's see. Test, test, test. It says it's connected. Okay, Mark says it got. So we're gonna go with that. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day on this whatever day of the week it is. I think it's a Sunday. Yes, we are Sunday. So awesome. Perfect. So hope everyone is enjoying themselves. Get everything ready. Cool. So let me, I need to do one little switch up, and that is my switch up right there. Perfect. Okay. So why is this doing this? That's what I was looking for, right? So welcome friends on this wonderful day. It's raining, cloudy, silly. Current temperature is 50 Fahrenheit or 10 C. So crazy. Let's peek up here at the sky so you guys can see it's a little gray. Kind of a gray sky afternoon. But that doesn't mean that the ducks are not happy being ducks, just out here doing their duck thing. So there's some Canadian gooses in the distance coming in for a landing at the pond out there in the field. So I hope everyone is having a good day. So Lisa's gone. So like I said before, I'm going to try to do Sundays. Sundays will be either bees or let's feed the chickens. Right now we're going to do, since it's so wet and rainy, I'd rather not get into the bees until a day that it's not so wet and rainy because they're a lot more angrier when I get into wet and rainy. But let me show you. Here's the one beehive. We're going to spin around and I'll show you guys it. So here is the one beehive. Here's some bees doing their bee thing. I haven't given the beehives names yet, but this is the first beehive that I put in. Miss Sylvia's there just honking away, wanting some food. Right, Miss Sylvia? Yeah? I'll get you some food in just a second, Miss Sylvia. So, got a lot of rain, so you can see the ponds. All the ponds are filling up. So before we go in, we'll check out the little ponds. So we got this little pond filling up, doing exactly what it's supposed to do because the water goes down through there and then zipped out through the mountain, goes there, and then it comes out that side. This is the pond I'm currently working on. I'm trying to get putting some sandbags in to redo the bank, because if I don't put the sandbags in and I just do the regular bank, what ends up happening is what's happening right here is it just gets crazy eroded. It just gets crazy eroded there. So I need to fix that erosion. So I put the sandbags in to try to stop the erosion so we can get a good pond built in. So apple blossoms, apple blooms, they're all doing well. It'll be interesting. I've never eaten an apple off of this tree before, so I'll be excited to see what ends up coming out of that one. So, and then the Arkansas black. So I guess the first thing we'll do, oh, I haven't shown you guys what I've been working on. So trying to beautify my yard, because it's always a crazy mess because there's always different projects. But this is the first project. I worked on getting this corner all cleaned up. So I put in a raised flower bed, made a little rock wall, put my little, the Mario pipe had been sitting there for a while. I think what we're going to do is at some point put a piece of artwork in there to do a little Mario pipe and such like that. So what's the first thing? Let's go feed the bunnies. Just because it might start raining in a bit. So I think the first thing we need to do is get the bunnies fed and such like that. So let's get them fed. Let me grab You grab one of the containers. Perfect. Then after we get those fed, we will come in here. We'll say hi to the babies. I'll show you guys the baby chickens, the ducks, and everything like that, and then we will continue on. So let me spin the camera around. There we go. So we got lots of interesting projects, lots of stuff going on, a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up from the winter. Because, you know, kind of in the winter you get lazy and you kind of just set things around because of the snow and you're cold and that kind of stuff. So a lot of cleaning up. Going to do a lot more. Got a lot of projects this year. Some really cool projects that I'm excited about. So I want to show you guys this too while we're sitting here. You guys might find this interesting. So these two bunnies are a couple. They're part of our free range bunnies. But she decided that she wanted to have babies in a safe spot this time. So she ended up having babies. She went under this cage in here and she ended up having some babies under there. And I will grab one if you give me just a second. I will grab you a baby so you guys can see a baby. You guys like to see baby. So I still have the reason why I still got the greenhouse plastic up is I still keep the greenhouse plastic up right now because we still occasionally will get some colder nights and such like that. So it's just better to have the greenhouse plastic up until we're exactly ready. And then we're actually going to move those. I would have actually moved these cages by now, but once I saw the babies and thought she actually came up with a smart idea to put the babies under there, I thought maybe I'll just wait till after we're done with the baby. So I'm going to reach in there and get you guys a baby so you guys can see it. Okay, well, she must have moved them because I don't see them. So I will try to figure out where she moved the babies to because sometimes she gets creative and she moves her babies around. But it was a good spot. So I'm going to get in here, see if I can see where she moved them, and I do not. So, no, unfortunately, no idea. So we'll get this figured out later. Darn, it was going to be cool, but another time we'll be able to see baby chicks. So that's the downfall to letting the babies, the mothers, just raise them wherever outside. But that was a good spot. So she must have just decided something must have bothered her, maybe the wind or the storm or something like that got it. But we'll get that figured out. We'll figure out where the babies are. And as soon as I can figure them out, I will share them. So I'll put you guys right here. No, can't really see if I put you guys right there. I'll put you guys right here. And we'll zoom down this way, just like so. And that should be good. So anyways, the good news is since the babies aren't there, that means that we'll be able to move those cages soon. So that'll be my plan, to move these cages to a new location, a new home. Find someplace cool. Find someplace cool to put them. And not necessarily stacked up the way we're stacking up today. So what can we talk about today on this lovely mid-spring day? So what's there to talk to? Well, the apple trees my pear tree and my apple tree are absolutely appling and pearing, and it's going to be awesome. The ones that you saw, the guys with the blooms, it was perfect in the time of year because the blooms are just ideal. We didn't get a freeze, so we should have a lot of awesome fruit this pear tree, which we'll peek up in. I want to show you guys some of the little pears that are already starting to form on it. I'm excited about this pear tree because this pear tree produces awesome, tasty pears, and we're gonna be covered up with pears. It's gonna be a lot, and it'll be awesome. And I'll be very excited about that as well. So get in here in just a minute and check on both of these guys. After we're done feeding everyone, as long as it's not raining like crazy, we'll take a walk out to the garden plot and we will check out what's going on in the garden. I'll show you guys what I've planted so far and how that's coming along. And then we'll just do some more fun things around the farm. We'll talk about some of the major projects and some of the stuff. So again, farm chores, I highly suggest if you're new to this and you've not followed me before, you're just kind of watching, we're just kind of here hanging out doing farm chores. If you got questions or anything and you'd like to ask. I will be more than happy to answer. Lots of fun things that we can talk about on the farm. It was been rainy last night, man. Last night was absolutely a crazy storm. The dogs were not happy with how stormy it was outside. And so it made for a long night, even though I love storms. So it was kind of okay. But yeah, the dogs were just, even with bringing them to the room and that kind of stuff, it was just such loud thunder and lightning that they're just not happy. Not happy with any of it. So pop you guys right here. So you guys might see, you might look around, you might see cardboard sitting around. Part of the reason I have cardboard sitting around is cardboard is a great way to kill certain types of weeds or certain types of things that I don't want living in my yard, because I don't use petrochemicals. I don't use any of those, like the nasty gick or anything like that. So I always have to find ways to kill plants. So when I have certain plants growing around in spots of the yard that I don't want them to, we put cardboard down, and that seems to do a very good job of dispersing weeds and getting weeds out of the areas that I don't want them, especially the stuff that is just not what I want growing. So, because there's a lot of times where I don't mind a lot of stuff coming in, especially if like the animals can eat it or it can have multiple uses. But sometimes there's just plants that are just we're just not dealing with them today. I'm just not cool with them being where they're growing. And so we convince them to leave. And if they're really crazy, then I use the cardboard trick, or I'll use the black rubber trick or something like that. We'll put it down and we will just kill it out that way. So we're also going to be, wow, it's getting darker and darker as I talk. I'm glad I chose to do this first, because I think we will be having rain before too long. So with our bunnies, if you've noticed, we've really cut down our bunny population than what we used to have. And part of the reason for that is because we're going to build a little, like a bunny area where people can like hang out with the bunnies and such like that. And so before we get that all established, we needed to keep the bunny population down, and it's pretty easy to bring a bunny population back up. So this might look like chaos to you, but let me explain what we're doing here. So we're going to do a raised garden bed here, and then I've mapped it out where we're going to do another raised garden bed about right here. What we're going to do is to get this fertilized for next year. Throughout the course of this year, we're going to be putting our chicken tractors on top of that for about half the year. Fill that up with that. Then we'll bring it over here. We're going to fill this up, do the same thing, and we'll put the chicken tractors over here. And then every year we'll rotate them. We'll rotate them back and forth so that we have chicken tractors, and the chickens and everybody are fertilizing them. Yeah, I can feel. Let's peek up at the sky real fast, guys. You guys can. I don't know if you guys can see the clouds rolling in. You can feel the weather changing. So I know that rain and storming is right on the horizon. So glad we picked that first. We do need to make sure we get Sylvia some food, because she'll want to jump in before the rain really starts kicking in. So let me go grab her over here in the handy run. Let me get Sylvia some food. So here we are in the handy run. I can't really see right now. I'm just spinning around for a second. Kind of just one-handing it as we get this ready for Sylvia, because sometimes some things become far more important to focus on, and that is making sure I beat the rain. At least beat the rain for Miss Sylvia so that she can get her snack in before it rains. And also, yeah, Miss Sylvia, you want your snack in? And she knows the rain is coming, and so she is ready to go. Her muddy mess. I've been trying to we put some grass seed in here, and I'm gonna have to figure out a lot how this water is seeping in there. That's one of the projects I'm working on, but it's so water just seeps up everywhere here. And so sometimes it can be rather hard to figure out how water is reaching things. And it's hard to tell on the stream, but everything is a decline. Everything is going downhill. So from the top of the mountain up behind us to where we are right now is about a 600-foot drop from the peak up there. And so when it rains and such like that, the water is always dropping. So let's get this in. And actually, I'm going to put this in. Then I want to show you guys the pears real fast. The baby pears that I told you about before the rain comes. I think that's... So you guys, you might have saw the flowers. If you've not, we'll check out the flowers in just a minute. But I will show you guys the little pears that are on the trees. I'm very excited about. Just to show you how absolutely crazy the pears are going to be. So if you guys look at the little bursts here, and if you guys look around as we're looking, you can see the pears are starting to already take shape. Or maybe you won't, but I don't think it'll let me get used to it. It won't. So I'll just take this one off. You guys can see how that was going to be a pear. You can see the little bulge at the end of the flower. That's where the pear was forming. It doesn't taste like a pear right now, though. Okay, so just to prove that it is raining, it's raining. So let's get in and get these guys, all these guys inside, some food and water, and check out some babies. I guess it does kind of taste like a pear. A little bit of an aftertaste. Okay. So most useful, super useful to hold, those cat litter boxes, super useful to hold food. And when you have separate multiple different types of food. So let me spin this around so we have a little extra light in here. This is supposed to, there we go. Perfect. You guys see we got some chickens and some baby chickens. Some baby chickens want some water. We got some young baby silkies, some other type of chickens. Baby chickens. That's one baby chickens. We're gonna get that finished and accomplished. And we'll jump over and say hi to the even babier chickens. And they live over in this one right now. You guys can see those guys hanging out back there. Those some baby chickens. So just so you guys know, if you guys notice, I do actually have 2 roosters in here and 2 hens and some baby chicks, because it is completely possible to raise all of your animals together as a group in a family. So people that say that that's not possible really don't know what they're talking about. So it's okay though. Okay, let's get to getting everyone fed and watered, because everybody, you guys can hear, they are super excited and hungry. That's probably pretty good. So I prefer to raise bantams. So some of you may want to raise full-size chickens. Some of you may want to raise a variety of other things. I prefer bantams. Part of the reason is because I don't necessarily need big eggs. Small eggs are just fine, or medium-sized eggs are just fine. Bantams actually eat like a fraction of the food. I think it's down to 1/3. They eat 1/3 the amount of food that a full-size chicken eats. And since we have so many ducks, it was kind of it's kind of how that compromise came about. So you might be wondering, Doc, I know you've got your chicken tractors, but why aren't they outside yet? And the reason they're outside yet is I usually don't get the chicken tractors out till right after the 1st of May. And we know the 1st of May is coming up. So that will be getting the chicken tractors out and getting that ready is right on the horizon of what's going to need to happen. And then all these cages will go out. Then we do a complete a deep clean of the barn. Take all of the things that we've been having in here. All of this is going to make really good deep litter. Is really good compost. So we'll clean this barn completely out for the spring and for the summer. And, you know, of course, the ducks will be in here throughout the course of the spring and summer. And then in the fall, once we start getting snow and rain and such like that, then we'll bring these guys back in and be ready to go. But the trick we learned is the deep litter is so useful because they actually, especially in the cages and such like that, they make this up. It keeps the smell at, like, there's very little smell in here right now. You would think that, you know, people see barns and they think a very crazy, nasty smelling barn. And the thing is the deep litter trick is what I've learned. So you might be wondering, deep litter is like doing lasagna composting. So if you're familiar with lasagna composting is using multiple layers to do the composting. So what this is we start off, all of them have rubber bottoms. Then on the rubber bottoms, we put some sand, we put some wood chips, we put some leaves, we put some hay. And if we've got other natural materials, we may include other natural materials in that as well. And then we do that probably like November is when all of that goes in. So that goes in November. And then if a cage is just really bad, because it happens every once in a while where the deep litter just doesn't work. And if the deep litter just doesn't work, then in that scenario, we'll then clean out the cage and we'll start again. Because every once in a while it just doesn't, the layering just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So we'll start again with that and with a new fresh start. But once that happens and we do that, we freshen it up. It's good to keep, it's good to freshen up and add some leaves and some wood chips and some hay throughout the course of the season. Not so much because you don't want it to fill all the way up in the cage, but you want it to keep, you want it to have enough that they can regularly scratch and reach the bottom, because the key is getting all the way down to the bottom and making sure that they can scratch down to the bottom so they can really get everything turned up. And as they turn up things and as they poop and pee in there and that kind of stuff, and then they turn all of that in and they scratch, when all said and done, you're ready to pull them out. You have really good compost because they've turned the compost for you. They've done the work for you. And one of the things that we've noticed is it keeps the mite level down throughout the course of the winter, because sometimes mites can be a problem depending on where you live in the winter. Sometimes having mites on the chickens, and that has seemed to help really reduce the mite load. So now that's just us here in Appalachia, just us in southern West Virginia. It could be different for you guys in all different areas. And it actually might be, depending on a lot of variables. You know, you might not actually be able to build the movable tractors. You might actually have to do more of permanent caging. And then if you do more permanent caging, that is a whole different can of worms all in itself. But each different types of farming, each different types of how you're choosing, it's got pros and cons. And so you should figure out what is the pro and con for the way you are choosing to do this. So again, if you're new and you've never been into my barn, this is my barn that was built completely entirely. Well, okay, I can't say complete entirely. It is built mostly out of wooden pallets. So we got some wooden pallets, we stacked them up, we built them, then we added a roof to it, and we did this on a very small budget, because that's one of the things is it shouldn't cost you a fortune to farm, raise animals, garden, all that kind of stuff. I want to be able to show that it is possible for everyone to be able to garden, farm, even if you're not. You do have to be creative. There's a lot of creative, you have to do a lot of creative thinking, and you have to do a lot of creative stuff. You guys actually might enjoy. I'll bring you down to the chaos. If you guys would rather see the chaos, you guys might enjoy the chaos more than just me rambling on. How's the chaos look? Let me spin this around. Okay. So I very much look forward to in the next couple weeks when I bring everybody outside, just because it is being able to move the chickens around, being able to giving them access to fresh grass when the grass is ready and that kind of stuff. That also really cuts down on the feed costs and such like that. So that is very that makes things a lot better as well, because the goal is me and Lisa are really trying to figure out ways to keep our animals super healthy, super full bellies, but to save some money on feed. So we're going to be growing some of our own feed this year. We're taking that approach and seeing how that comes out. We're going to one of the big things we're doing is we're going to be adding a lot of the bird seeds and such like that in, and see how well we do with growing that and how well that turns out. We definitely do grass. We found that grass, everybody likes grass, which is something that I'm going to have to be doing in the next, probably not today because of the rain, but in the next couple days, just going around collecting grass, collecting gardening stuff, and making sure that I get everybody grass as well, so that everybody gets some fresh greens and some fresh grass and such like that. That's not I need to put a little bit more food in there, but I'll come and get that in just a minute. Okay. So I did get everybody fed in here, which is good. That is the goal, is to make sure I've got everybody a little bit of food in my barn of chaos. Okay, let's get the chickens, the bunnies. I've got the 4 bunnies that need to be fed. And then we'll go collect the water. Actually, I think we will go, after I get the bunnies fed, everybody's still got a little bit of water. So what I'm going to do is, just because the water takes 2 hands to carry mostly, because the water is definitely a little bit harder, a harder thing to collect when I've got live streaming and such like that. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to get the bunnies fed, and then everybody will have food, and everybody still has a little bit of water left. So after that, we will go check out my garden plots. We'll talk about what's going on with the Victory Garden, what I've planted so far, what is on the horizon to be planted next, as the fear of frost is getting closer and closer to not something I need to be worrying about. And then I'll end the stream and I will get everybody water, just because it makes it easier that way. So I think that is the plan. If that sounds like a good plan of action to you guys, because that is our new plan. Okay, onward and outward to the garden plots. Not quite, it's not quite raining. It's sprinkling a little bit, but it'll be fine. It will be just fine. So we're gonna go the back way like we normally do, past all of the fun stuff. We haven't done it yet, so that's why you haven't seen a video, but we are gonna, me and Dwayne are going to try to tap the spring and see what happens. See if we can make an artesian well or artesian spring. So my ramps, they're looking pretty good. So there's some ramps there. I can't really see my finger. There's some ramps there. There's a peony, some poppies. The poppies are looking really good right there. I planted another patch of ramps there. I found some and retransplanted them, so we'll see how well they do. The autumn olive is blooming, so it smells like jasmine or honeysuckle outside right now. And then we're gonna head on. Oh, I'll show you guys, this was cool. See where the orange cone is? Where the orange cone is I noticed a fruit tree. Whoa, phone? Yes, too much of a ghetto lean. There's a fruit tree right there coming up all on its own. And so I'm going to let that fruit tree live there. Very excited about that. So here we heading out to the Victory Garden, or the just-in-time garden. So some of my fruit trees I planted a couple years ago. Some of them doing okay, some of them need to be some trimming. So there is the spot that I burnt. And then I tilled in all of that. So we will see how that turns out. But let's walk up here and I'll show you what I've started off planting. So right now I have carrots, purple carrots. And then that row right there is going to be dill. So I have dill and carrots currently in my garden. So some nice rows of carrots. Those big humps are going to be rows of carrots. So 4 rows of carrots and then that row of dill. And I still have the rest. And you can even see, even though I rototill it, grass is still starting to come up because that's how crazy it grows up here. So we'll peek here just to go on the little tour. We'll peek over this way. We'll check on my all of the raspberries, how my raspberries are doing. So these this raspberry bush is looking very good. Got a couple smaller ones going down here. And some more down over this way. Ooh, that one's starting to grab on, which is good. I need to train this guy to come on here and grab on. So you guys can see the lovely hayfield. My collection of cars. And then back to my garden, back to the upper garden plots. So for those that didn't know, this used to be a hayfield. It's been a hayfield for years, and I opted to grow some stuff up here. This is a potato pan. Ooh, look at this, guys. It wasn't long. It didn't take long at all. Look at, we've got some potatoes I guess it's just, I haven't quite figured out how to use this gimbal quite so well yet. Come on, gimbal. Stop gimbaling like that. Okay, there's some potatoes right there. Potato. Potato. I need to get some more potatoes in the ground because the potatoes obviously are ready to go. So once the junk potatoes, look at that. Right there, potato. So once the junk potatoes, and junk potatoes as in potatoes that I did do nothing, they just kind of grown there. Once the junk potatoes are coming up, that's how you know it is potato time. So, see, mountain, lovely. For those that don't know, when I moved here 20 years ago, this entire mountainside only had those trees and didn't have the brush. And people's like, I can't believe you're letting the brush grow up on that mountain. Well, I'm stopping erosion. Now, a lot of those are autumn olive or other types of multiflora rose. And so some people don't like that I'm leading so much quote unquote invasives. But I've said autumn olive and multiflora rose, you know, they're like earthworms or apple trees. They're just, they're endemic now. They live here. They're naturalized. So I'm just like, whatever. They produce really good. They're good for my bees. They're good for the birds. I mean, like, see this? It just looks pretty. All those are great things for the bees to eat. It's an invasive. People don't like it, but it feeds the birds. It smells awesome. It looks pretty. And so it just kind of lives here now. So I have a different relationship. Plus I can actually use it to make jellies, and I can utilize all of the tools. I can utilize it to do what I want. And so sometimes you have to look at it as the practical use of how you're going to use it and utilize it and make it so that instead of it being something that makes you angry, it's something that makes you happy. Because there is no way I'm eradicating. There's no way I'm eradicating all of the autumn olive off of my property. Just not going to happen. So embrace it. If I don't want it to grow in certain places, I'm totally removing it from those certain places. But just in general, it's just how it's going to be. We just accept it. Work with it. Work with nature, not against nature. If it wants to live here, it means there's a reason. If it wants to live here, it means that I'm going to use it somehow. I'm going to find a way to use it. It's going to feed my bees. It's going to feed me. It's going to feed my animals. It's going to provide something, shelter. It's going to do something. So, okay, guys, I think I'm going to head in so I can get the water, and I can get the water collected and such, and just throw my mic on the ground because, you know, why not just throw my mic on the ground? Whatever, I'll just hold it for right now because we're not going to be, it's not going to be long before I'm in the house. So anyways, friends, if you want to keep joining, the next day it's not raining, we're going to do the bee inspection. So look forward, it'll just pop up. Look forward to doing bee inspection. Again, if you're following me, wherever you're following me, it's X Dr. Firefly. You can follow me on that. If you want to watch this video on Rumble or something like that, it's X Dr. Firefly on Rumble. That's where most of my videos are archived to. Most of my live streams are archived. But again, D-Live, Twitch, Kick. Those are the main. Rumble, D-Live, Twitch are the main places. I also do a little bit on Kick. But I don't know how to read chat on Kick yet. So it's not as much fun for you guys because you can't really interact with me. But as soon as I figure that out, that'll be added to the next. Anyways, friends, if you want to keep watching me as I feed everyone, you guys can jump over. If you're watching this on Twitch or Kick, it'll bleed over and you guys will see, because it'll just activate my cameras out that way and you guys will see it. But if you're watching this on D-Live, you need to jump over to Mavis Pharmacy Lisa's channel. So anyways, friends, thank you guys for the journey. I will see you guys later. Want to join us on Discord, discord.gg/xdrfirefly. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Till tomorrow, it's Doc. Adios.